Hello YouTube, welcome to another League of Legends Season 6 Patch 5.23 guide by eGaming Television. This episode we're bringing you the guy everybody hates, Teemo. This is the first ever requested guide, which is why I'm doing Teemo in the first place. This is going to be a guide on the AP attack speed hybrid top Teemo. If you guys have a champion guide you would like to see, make sure you leave that in the comments and I'll be sure to do that next. In this guide, we're going to cover the pros and cons, masteries, runes, summoners, each of his abilities, his ability leveling order, his item build, and some closing remarks. So now we're going to jump right into the pros of Teemo, starting with the first one, which is he has a high amount of sustain. In the build I'm going to be showing you guys, we first rush a Hextech Gunblade. With the new change to this item, all of the damage you deal is now factored into lifesteal. With all of the sustain that this item gives, you can basically just sit in lane until whenever you decide to go by. Another big pro is Teemo's ultimate. You have the ability to drop shrooms all over top lane and jungle. Whenever somebody hits one of those shrooms, you get complete vision of them wherever they're going. So basically if you drop the shrooms correctly, you'll always get the vision if a jungler's coming to gank you. You can also drop these shrooms around stuff like Baron, your red buff, or Dragon, and see whenever the enemy's moving in to try to do objectives to stop them. The last pro Teemo has is he's basically got a built-in global taunt. What this means is people are going to try and shut you down because they hate Teemo that much. The reason that this is a pro is people will often run just for Teemo and completely ignore higher threat targets just to kill the Teemo. So now moving into the cons for Teemo, the first one being he is insanely squishy. Basically, he is like Cottonelle or Charmin or whatever. Like, he is super soft. He cannot build that tanky either. Like, you know, maybe he can get his Zonias. But the build he's got to go for is basically as much attack speed and on-hit items with ability power as well, which doesn't give him the opportunity to get tanky. The next con for Teemo is you really got to know how to kite. It's honestly not too hard as Teemo, considering you have your increased move speed from your W, but if you cannot kite, you're going to die insanely fast due to, as I said before, you being insanely squishy. Now, Teemo is a range champion, which is kind of a pro. However, he is extremely short range, which can be a con. If you're against a long range top champion, you could have a really difficult time in lane considering you are squishy. Although when you get your sustain, it won't be such a hard feat. Another con, if you care about how people think about you, is you are instantly hated by 99% of the community if you pick Teemo. Basically, in some people's minds, if you're a Teemo player, you're instantly a dickhead no matter what. Next, we're going to touch on the masteries for Teemo. Starting with Ferocity, you take 18 of Ferocity total. You start with Fury, which is 4% attack speed, followed by Feast, which when you kill a minion, you get 20 HP, but it is on a 20-second cooldown. You follow this up with Natural Talent, which gives you 10 attack damage and 15 ability power at level 18 since you are a hybrid build. You then get Oppressor for 2.5% increased damage to targets with impaired movement, meaning if you get a slow with your shroom or something, you will do 2.5% more damage to that target. You then get Piercing Thought for 7% magic pen. Finally, you get Deathfire Touch, which makes your abilities cause enemies, champions to take magic damage over 3 seconds. Next, you go 12 into Cunning, first starting with Savagery, which gives you 5 bonus damage to monsters. You follow this with Secret Stash, which makes potions and elixirs last 10% longer, and your health potions become biscuits. Then you get Merciless for 5% more damage to enemy champions below 40% health. And finally, you get Dangerous Game, where champion kills and assists give 5% to your health and mana. Next, we look at the runes for Teemo, and since this is a hybrid build, you take 9 greater marks of hybrid penetration. You follow this up with 9 greater glyphs of ability power, followed by 9 greater seals of scaling health, and finally 3 greater quintessences of attack speed. Generally, when you pick Teemo, it's to bully a melee top laner, so you don't really need the armor or magic resist from, your blues and reds, so this is what gives you the most attack damage to harass as much as possible. For summoners, you grab Flash and Ignite. You take Flash because it's used for chasing, escaping, repositioning, and many more things. Flash is a must-have for Teemo since he does not have a built-in escape. You then take Ignite because combined with your poisons, it can do a huge amount of damage over time. Ignite will help you secure many kills when your opponent is fleeing from you. You of course can take teleport instead of ignite as well if you feel like you need the map control. However, ignite with your poisons is generally much better. Now we're going to look at each of Teemo's abilities, starting with his passive, which is called camouflage. If Teemo stands still and takes no actions for a short duration, he becomes stealth indefinitely. Teemo becomes stealth twice as fast while in brush and can move around in brush without breaking his stealth. After leaving stealth, Teemo gains the element of surprise, increasing his attack speed for 3 seconds. The attack speed from element of surprise is what makes this passive pretty solid. You can have high kill potential with this passive if you can catch your enemy off guard. Teemo's next skill is Blinding Dart, which is his Q. He deals between 80 and 260 plus 80% ability power magic damage and blinds the target for between 1.5 and 2.5 seconds. A well-placed Blinding Dart on the enemy AD carry can completely take them out of the team fight and give your team a massive advantage. This also deals a lot of magic damage and scales pretty well, so it'll also chunk the enemy AD carry fairly low. You can also use Blind on an assassin that jumps on you to negate all of his damage as well and stay into the fight. Teemo's next skill is called Move Quick, which is his W. It has passive and active. So his passive, Teemo's movement speed is increased by between 10 and 26% unless he has been damaged by an enemy champion or turret in the last 5 seconds. When activated, Teemo sprints, gaining twice his normal bonus for 3 seconds. This bonus is not lost when struck. This skill helps a lot with harassing your opponent in lane as well as running away in team fights. Now, Teemo's main skill, which is his E, is called Toxic Shot. Teemo's basic attacks poison the target, dealing between 10 and 50 plus 30% ability power, magic damage upon impact, and 6 to 30 plus 10% ability power, magic damage each second for 4 seconds. With this and Hextech Gunblade, you have an absurd amount of life leech in lane and you will never have to leave. This also makes Teemo's harassment ridiculous in lane and not many champions are able to put up with it. And now we land at the move that pisses everybody off, and it is his ultimate, which is called Noxious Trap. So Teemo tosses a mushroom trap on the ground which stealths and arms after 1 second, lasting up to 5 minutes. While armed, mushrooms grant sight around them. If a thrown mushroom lands on another one, it bounces an additional distance before planting. If an enemy steps on a mushroom, it detonates, poisoning all nearby enemies, slowing, granting sight of them, and dealing magic damage over 4 seconds. A good Teemo will have shrooms all over the friggin' map, and whenever you want to go anywhere, you will run into a few shrooms and instantly have to go back to base and heal again. Try and put your shrooms in commonly walked paths to piss everybody off. These can also be placed all around you in lane, so when somebody comes to gank you, you have multiple paths to go to escape safely. You can also stealth somewhere with a shroom under you. If somebody walks over it, you will get the attack speed for 3 seconds and absolutely destroy them for a free kill as well. Now that we've covered each of his abilities, we're going to look at his ability leveling order. So first, you take Noxious Trap, which is your ultimate, whenever you can, to be annoying as possible. So you take it at 6, 11, and 16. Next, you take Toxic Shot, which is your E. You take this at level 1, and it is your main leveling priority. You take it at 1, 4, 5, 7, and 9. Next, you take Blinding Dart, which is your Q. You take it at level 2, and it is your second in leveling priority. So you take it at 2, 8, 10, 12, and 13. Your last in leveling priority is Move Quick. You take one in level 3, and it is your last in leveling priority. So you take it at 3, 14, 15, 17, and 18. Now we're going to look at the item build for Teemo. Now you start with a Doran's Ring and 2 health pots. Your core build is to get a Hextech Gunblade for the sustain in lane, followed by a Nashora's Tooth for increased damage, then Sork Boots, Leandri's Torment, Void Staff, and Rabadon's Death Cap. This is an extremely high damage build, but you could fit in a Guardian Angel or Banshees or even a Zonia's to increase your survivability as well. Teemo is a very strong laner. He has tons of harass, and now he even has strong sustain. The thing you have to get used to with Teemo, however, is when to use your blinding shot and when to pop your W. You can only hold 3 charges of your mushrooms as well, so you need to make sure that you're always using those whenever you can, as when you have 3 and you're not getting any more, it's a huge waste of your ultimate. A Teemo can either be a useless piece of crap that can't do anything in a team fight, or the most frustrating frigging thing you've ever played against in your entire life. Learning when to use your blind on an enemy, and which enemy to use it on, when to pop your W to stay safe, and how to use your mushroom charges and where to place them is what sets a great Teemo apart from an average Teemo. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you have a champion suggestion guide, like I said before, please leave that in the comments as well, and I'll be sure to do a champion guide on that champion next. I'd also like to thank all the subscribers I've been getting, and I hope to keep seeing you guys in my new videos.